Big Dipper is the oldest operating roller coaster at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. This ride recently celebrated its 100th anniversary, and it's still an iconic ride at the park. While it may not have the size or speed of the park's more modern coasters, this ride has some wild airtime moments if you're in the back car. Just be prepared to pay the price. I will explain why in this review. Blackpool Pleasure Beach is no stranger to wood coasters. Their first 10 roller coasters were all made of wood. The oldest still remaining is Big Dipper. This ride opened in 1923 and is the UK's second oldest operating coaster. Designed by John Miller, the coaster originally formed an L-shaped layout running alongside the park's old boundaries. The ride originally turned left after the second drop, ran straight where the Big One's lift hill is today, and turned around where the Space Invader building stands. Flash forward to the 1930s. Two important developments occurred that impacted Big Dipper's future. One, Charles Page designed 3 different wood coasters for Pleasure Beach. Roller Coaster opened in 1933, which is known as Nickelodeon Streak today. Zipper Dipper opened in 1934, which is known as Blue Flyer today. Grand National opened in 1935, which dethroned Big Dipper as the park's new signature attraction. 2. The park owners acquired land south of the park, allowing them to expand. But there was a problem. Big Dipper's layout cut the rest of the park off from this plot. As a result, this ride was nearly removed. But the park instead hired Page to extensively modify the layout. Additional hills were added on the outward leg. Then the turnaround was moved forward to the new park perimeter. The only parts remaining from Miller's layout were the brakes to first drop, which ironically were destroyed in a 1953 fire. This also caused the demise of the ride's original station. Both were thankfully rebuilt though. The latter still makes for an iconic entrance. You have a large lighthouse-like tower bearing the ride's name. That would be cool on its own, but the ride also navigates a turn atop it. The ride still has a nice presence within the park. The ride is a mostly white structure, like so many classic wood coasters. Then the layout intertwines with several other attractions. That's most evident on the turnaround, which narrowly avoids Steeplechase, Big One, and Icon. The first few drops used to be very visible from outside the park, hence why the ride's name is spelled out on the second hill, but these are now blocked by both Big One and Infusion. The queue is quite pretty still. It is housed underneath the iconic structure, and it overlooks the station. There, you have a fountain, and you have the energy of guests floating beneath you. How long you wait is heavily dependent upon the number of trains in use. Big Dipper currently has 2. Typically, the park will run both on busy days, but I heard that 2 trains bumped this past season, causing it to operate with 1 train for much of the season. This was miserable on busy days, causing the ride to frequently post 60 to 90 minute waits. 1-train ops are not fun on any coaster, but they are particularly dreadful on Big Dipper. It has a long cycle time due to the super slow lift hills and also the station setup. There are separate load and unload platforms, which means it takes longer than most coasters to get people on and off because they are done in 2 separate steps. This is fine when 2 trains are in use, but it's really annoying when you only have 1. I am not sure if the park was able to return to 2-train operations later in the 2024 season, but hopefully they can in the future. The ride also had a collision back in 2009, so there is a precedent to return to 2-train operation after an accident. It is absolutely needed. This keeps the line under 20 to 30 minutes most days. This coaster is included in the park's paid Speedy Pass Skip the Line system. You are admitted directly into the batching area. Even this line will back up if the ride is on 1 train. If you know it is, make this one of your first reservations if you have the Speedy Pass. The trains have 3 cars with 4 rows of 2. Not many wood coasters have a 4-bench train, so they look a bit funky, but they work. Seating is on a first-come basis. Just enough people are admitted onto the platform to fill the next train. If the seat you want is already occupied, you can ask the operator to wait an extra cycle, and they usually will oblige. Where you sit can have a major impact on your experience. You get the best airtime by far in the back car. That is where I always try to ride. You may want to avoid a wheel seat or the very back of a car though. I would classify these seats as downright violent. There are some brutal valleys and turns. I can manage this because the trains are well padded, but I know it's way too much for a lot of guests. That is why it's smarter to avoid these seats. You can get the same great airtime sitting further up in the back car without taking as much of a beating. Each row is a shared lap bar. They remind me of the ones on Morgan Wood Coaster trains, except these have multiple positions. But these are not too restrictive for me at least, so I have plenty of space to experience the airtime. It is also worth noting that everything must ride with you, bags included. These sit at your feet much like a Disney coaster. This is pretty unnerving in the back car given how strong the negative G's get, so I always wrap my bag around my legs. The final thing I want to point out is that the trains have headlights on them, and they are still functional. This is quite rare to see in a wood coaster. Once loaded, a bell rings, and it is quite the sight seeing these 4-bench trains navigate the tight turns off-ride. It looks like they're fishtailing. Now this ride start is quite bizarre. You first rumble through a tunnel. While you may not be traveling faster than 2 to 3 miles per hour, this part is very bumpy. This is a warning of what's to come if you're in those wheel seats. Then you have the first of 2, yes 2, lift hills. This first one is very shallow and tiny, but you still take it at a glacial rate. Once at the top, you round a bend to the second lift hill, which is stacked atop the first. This allows the ride to reuse the same chain for both. It is a similar approach to what Knoebels used on Twister. The second lift brings you to your max height. I have seen some sites posted as 60 feet or 18 meters, but others listed as 65 feet or 20 meters. Either way, the figure is not particularly tall for a wood coaster, but it still takes a really long time to reach the top. The chain is just as slow as it was on the first lift. But you do get some sweet views of the park off to your right. I think the main reason this ride has 2 lift hills is so you can reach the aforementioned lighthouse. You had to find a way to connect back to it from the station. Once at the top, you slowly round the picturesque bend. While this start definitely builds anticipation, it is also frustratingly long. It takes 2 minutes from dispatch to first drop. That is pretty insane for a ride that is roughly 6 stories tall. That first drop is fantastic though. It has a very parabolic shape, so if you're in that back car, you are absolutely thrown over it. You get some really good ejector airtime. You are then slammed back down to your seat, which can be pretty brutal in a wheel seat, I'm not gonna lie. Next is a large camelback. It offers a nice burst of airtime in the front, but this element once again shines in the back. You get excellent ejector airtime. I think it's the single strongest airtime moment in the park, and until Hyperia opened, it may have been the best airtime moment in the country. The airtime is so strong that you can land on the seat divider if you have space. This is most common for a smaller rider sitting next to a larger guest, because remember, you share the same lap bar, so it's going to stop at the larger guest. You also get a cool head chopper with part of Icon that is angled over the track. The valley is bumpy once again though. Then comes another large camelback. You get some weak lift in front, then the drop offers a good pop of negative G's in the back. The pullout also tries to pop your back though. It is a general theme with this ride. You then rise upwards once again, giving those in front a nice jolt of airtime. It is the best negative G's in the ride in the front row. Rather than dropping back down to the ground, you have a small dip that doesn't do too much. You then meekly rise upwards, and then you have a curved drop to the left. This runs adjacent to the Big Blue Hotel, and it offers some decent laterals and back. It also has quite a bit of jackhammering though. Then you continue curving upwards and navigate a turnaround. The entry is this section of straight track, but the train still manages to bounce right on through it. So much so that you'll inadvertently get some airtime because you are physically bouncing out of your seat. This is not painful because you're traveling so slow, it's comical more than anything. This jostling continues in the 180-degree leftward turn. Then, you have an abrupt little dip beneath Steeplechase. This not only provides an incredible head chopper, but it also offers a brief but potent pop of airtime in the back. You then tamely jump upwards and turn to the right, setting up the return run. It begins with a sizable drop into a tunnel. It is the final big drop on the ride. This yet again offers a good jolt of airtime in the back car. The pullout is once again bumpy though. You then climb upwards into the first of 3 bunny hills. These are taken very slowly, so they don't have much airtime. You get a pinch of air in the second one in the back, and an okay pop on the third one in back. That is it. Forget about any airtime further up in the train. This part is on the smoother side at least, presumably due to the lessened speed. You then rise upwards into the brakes and park in the unload station, which is extremely close to the first drop. I'm pretty sure you could reach out and touch the track if you tried. This ends the 3,300 foot or 1,000 meter long coaster. In terms of pacing, this ride definitely struggles at points. I suspect it's due to the modified layout. The train loses a lot of speed on that turnaround section and also the return run. I stay engaged in the rear car because most drops offer airtime, but that is not the case further up in the train. So, what would I rate the Big Dipper? I would give this coaster a 7 out of 10. If you are sitting in that back car, this is a really good wooden roller coaster. There are some downright wicked drops with some shockingly forceful ejector airtime. But this ride is not perfect. It is very bumpy at points, particularly in the wheel seats. I would love if this ride got a full retrack in the future, because it could use it. The other big con is that this ride is far mellower in the front 2 cars, but the back car experience is 100% worth it. Just maybe avoid that very back row unless you have a penchant for rough rides. So those are my thoughts on Big Dipper at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. What are your thoughts on this classic ride? Do you like that back car experience as much as me? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.